Hello, everyone. Welcome to the HP Podcast, episode number 295. I'm Ben, and with me here today are the two beautiful boys you've ever met. First of all is Davey. Dave, when I first saw your shirt, I did not realize it was a Volkswagen. I thought it was Overwatch at a brief glimpse. I don't know why. Explain.
Well, it's a Volkswagen shirt. You got that right. It's got a write-up on the back about the Beetle, the original bus.
Yeah.
I was walking my daughter today, and there was these two women, and they were kind of like I was letting them pass me, and they weren't going around me, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, we were just reading your shirt, the back of your shirt." And I'm like, "What the hell?" And I said to them, "I was like, I haven't even read it yet. Is there anything interesting on there?" So. Yeah, this is just a cheap shirt. I really like Volkswagen, but since they've started making so many of their mainline cars in Mexico, they've kind of lost some of the German engineering flair that they had. So, yeah, I'm more of a Days of Yore. My first car was a Golf 5, which was labeled as the Rabbit here in North America. I love that car. That was one of the last Golfs to be built in Germany. Unless you get the R Wolfsburg edition or something like that.
Your specific VIN was?
Sorry?
Your
All
specific car, yes. Your VIN number was one of the last ones?
Yeah.
It was a joke. This is my car is the last one they rolled off the...
No, I mean the last mark
production year.
Yeah. When they moved to this,
I
don't know about the
I understood what you meant. I was just trying to be funny. It didn't,
no,
I'm
okay clarifying things for you, Ben. It's no problem.
Are you insulting my intelligence once again?
I would never do that.
Ed in chat says, how long has Dave been Davey? A very long time. A very long time.
Oh, like my name there? Yeah, it's been a while. Surprised you of all people didn't notice that until now. But
How observant, Ed.
Yeah, Rain Man over here didn't
Sorry,
notice.
can I just ask, is everyone's dog and cat okay? I heard your former president, and let's be honest, probably future president, was a little bit concerned about the dogs and cats. Everything's okay?
Yeah, we keep ours inside.
Okay.
Just to make sure. Yeah.
Lord.
Also with us here is Brandon.
What's up,
a man who would never eat a dog, but probably would eat a cat.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
You would eat a dog?
No, I would eat neither. Yeah. There's a lot of animals I probably would eat, but I don't know that those ones would do me any good. They're more for petting, but I'm doing good today, gents. Doing good today. A lot better than yesterday. I slept like shit last night. Well, the night before last. And today, I woke up refreshed and ready for the day on a happy, happy Tuesday. So
nice. Now, Brandon, you said it probably wouldn't do you any good, and that got me to thinking about the practicality of eating animals like cats and dogs. There's probably some nutritional value there.
I mean, I'm sure there's nutritional value in humans too, but that's you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. I don't know if I can make that same comparison, because if I were about to die, if I were stranded on a desert island and the only thing there was a stray cat, I would kill and eat that cat to survive. But if there were just a random human, I wouldn't kill and eat that human to survive. There's a big difference there.
Why?
If I had to eat a cat, I would, but I wouldn't eat a human.
Ben, if it were just me and you on an island, and I was starving, I would kill you and eat you.
Yeah, that's the difference between me and you. I just don't. Honestly, I think I would eat anything in the right. Not humans. First of all, I don't have any interest in eating humans.
That's
you
good.
never know. You never know what a crazed deserted island mind does to you, but it can make you sick and stuff too. So
Yeah,
What was that
sure.
movie with the rugby team on the plane that crashed? They slowly started dying, and they started eating each other. I feel like in that situation, if there was a dead person there,
yeah,
and it's if I don't eat this person, then I'm
Yes.
going to be next. It's in that
Right.
situation, it feels kind of,
yeah. I think that would be fine. I don't know if it's totally fine, but it would be fine. But an animal, I might not want to eat it. But if I were forced with it, there is no animal I would not eat in the right situation. And as it stands, if you gave me, a dog or a cat, and I was in like a different place and country, and I didn't know what it was, and I ate it, and I was afterwards, I'd be like, okay, well, that's what that was. It wouldn't gross me out, but I wouldn't intentionally like maybe a cat, but not a dog. I couldn't do it. I couldn't kill a dog. Horses, people kill horses and eat them. Bring it on, baby.
But see, that's the thing. It's the killing part. That would be the difficult part. If it was just the eating part under the right circumstances, no problem. But the actual culling part, that's dog, cat, doesn't matter.
You ever wonder if you accidentally have ever eaten something you didn't mean to eat? Like my dad, when we lived in Florida, used to go to this Chinese restaurant. I know it's a stereotype, but this happened. This literally happened. And his friend would always tell him, like, that's a cat meat. That's cat meat right there we're eating. And my dad was like, shut up, you're crazy. That's a chicken. And like 2 weeks later, there was an article in the newspaper that they got busted for literally killing cats and serving them. Like, it was the whole story of killing cats outside the back door in the alley and eating and cooking them up. And then my dad's friend was like, see, I told you. So my dad has eaten cat unintentionally, for sure.
Have you guys heard about where that whole thing came from in like, the 50s and 60s, where there was a lot more immigrants coming over from Asia, and they were bringing over their vast superior cuisine.
Right.
And, the restaurants became so popular that people outside of, those kind of restaurants in the restaurant industry started, spreading fake rumors about what they were serving to get people to stop going to Chinese restaurants because they were stealing so much of their business.
Yeah.
Really sad stuff, but
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the MSG.
Yeah.
That's what gets you, baby.
Extra
the magic spice is the MSG, baby. That's all you need to get it to taste like that at home.
This is very off of where we just were, but have you guys ever burned MSG?
Burned it?
Can you smoke it?
You can't. I don't know if you can smoke it. I don't think I'd want to try. A friend of mine and I and a couple of our friends were at a music concert or music festival for like a week, and there was no. We were like running out of food because we were poor college students. So we were hungry. We actually ended up doing like we traded up a granola bar, like bigger or better. That whole game. We're like, oh, granola bar. Oh, we'll get some ramen noodles. Oh, we'll trade that for some Pop-Tarts. Oh, we'll trade that for whatever. And eventually, we got up to like a 5-pound can of Bush's baked beans, and that was glorious. But anyway, what I was saying is we were cooking something, and my friend was like, "I want to see what this," and he just like threw the MSG that we had in like. Somebody had just brought their spice kit, threw it on the fire, and it was very flammable. And then we started doing it with other spices, and they weren't as flammable.
Some spices are incredibly flammable.
Yeah.
Especially in the air.
MSG is one of them, by the way.
Good to know.
Mm-hmm. If you ever get in a real...
Spice your food
real tight
before
spot.
or after it's near the flame. Understood.
Yeah. Can you cook with it? I guess you can, because people do. I love
Yeah,
how
absolutely.
all like... restaurants in big cities, like especially Chinese restaurants, put like signs on the front that says like no MSG, and I'm like, there's MSG in there.
MSG was like vilified though. That's the
It's a good
Yeah.
spice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like magic salt, It's like magic dust.
Was it vilified, Dave? You're the expert on false rumors here. Was it because of
Big salt?
no? Is it really like people were using it to make stuff feel more filling? Or was that a vicious rumor? Okay.
I had an issue with it because when I first saw it, I got the letters mixed up, and I thought they had an issue with Metal Gear Solid, which I loved
Right.
at the time.
Sure.
So
No. Understandable.
yeah.
This is the HP podcast. We sometimes talk about video games, most of the time, as a matter of fact. But every now and then we get into some crazy stuff. You can also get into some crazy stuff over at our Discord at handsomephantom.com/Discord. We appreciate everybody hanging out there. No fee to apply. You don't have to apply. You just join. Just be a total bot and join. It's fine. We'll ban the bots, though, unless they're really fun. You can also support us over on patreon.com/handsomephantom for as little as $1 a month. We appreciate everybody there who is supporting us already, and we ask that maybe you consider it. Ad-free early access. You get the show a day and a half, really, ad-free and early. And if you're on video, check us out here, 7 o'clock, most Tuesday nights. That reminds me, we'll put out an announcement at some point. I forgot to tell the guys, because I forgot until today. I'll be gone next Tuesday, so I'm not sure if we're going to change the night of the show, or they're going to do it without me, or what's going to happen, but we'll let you know in the Discord. Another reason to join the Discord. Should we talk about some video games.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a problem. I forgot to update these tags here.
Oops.
I'm just gonna be honest with you. So let me just start out with this one. I'll fix the rest of them. Okay, here we go. Okay, and look, it's like it never happened. The what is going on?
On
man?
the fly, bro. Dude, the mystery meats really threw you off kilter here.
I'm hungry for it. The Black Ops 6 multiplayer beta was the biggest beta in Call of Duty history, it's been claimed. According to Activision, the beta ranked for the total number of players, the total number of hours played, and the most matches played. Activision said it also ranked first in terms of the amount of playtime per player, suggesting engagement was strong among participants. Early access to the beta ran from August 30th to September 4th on the Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PS5, PS4, and PC. It was open to anybody who pre-ordered Black Ops 6 and also subscribers to Game Pass plans. Then they had it open again for everybody on the 6th through the 9th, where anybody can check it out as well. The game comes out next month, in the next month. Brandon,
Yeah.
did you expect it to be the biggest ever?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like Call of Duty in recent years has kind of fallen off a little bit, but it definitely has continued to gain momentum over the past 10 years consistently, even if it's had ups and downs. So this to me really isn't a surprise. I think that Call of Duty continues to get bigger every single year. Even if the players end up falling off, which ends up being the big news stories, is that the players have fallen off, but the numbers still get bigger almost every single year, if not year over year. So this doesn't surprise me, especially because it's on Game Pass. In addition to that, I feel like that was a huge bump for them. I think that the people that want to play Call of Duty are eager to play it a bunch. I mean, that's kind of the shtick of it. Is to kind of hone the craft, to unlock the attachments. Even if they didn't have the camouflages early in the beta, they still had a reason. They incentivized you to keep playing, to get the different attachments, to level up to a certain amount, to have the beta skins and the sprays, whatever. So yeah, this doesn't surprise me one bit. And it was good. Moreover, I think that is kind of a big takeaway for this as well. They made some notable changes, and last year was kind of a lull year for a lot of people. So I think people are very eager to kind of hop back in, including myself. So I was amongst that. But yeah, this is good news. I am very, very excited. It's actually one of the only things I'm excited for the rest of the year as far as games go, to be honest with you. But
Dave, I know you said you checked it out briefly and you hated it because of all the twitchiness and the millennials or the Zoomers running around doing flips. Did you get a chance to jump back in and check it out anymore?
No, so I didn't actually play it.
Okay.
I consumed it via Twitch, but
Gotcha.
I mean, it didn't matter. I'm sure Activision's upset that Dave Lambden didn't pick it up, but
They actually
it'll be
emailed
okay.
me. They were like, "Could you fire this guy?" I didn't know they were our boss, but
yeah, it's. Do you guys remember when Skull and Bones? This is my only Skull and Bones reference for the show, I promise. But do you remember when
We're holding
Skull
you to
and
it.
Bones launched and Ubisoft released that headline, record player engagement?
yeah,
You're like, oh, good for them. But then you're like, what does that mean? And some we see this a lot where publishers release a game and they put out some obscure metric to kind of be like, this is how successful our game was. This is not that in this case, because if you what Ben said is record player count, record number of hours played, record number of matches played. Like this was a success amongst all successes, full stop. And this is surprising to me because how many years has it been since Call of Duty 2, which in my mind was really the first Call of Duty that really kind of exploded out, I don't know, 15, 18, 20 years almost. It's been a while. I see Ben's looking it up there. And to have this much sustained interest in multiplayer, like we're not
19
talking
years.
about 19 years. We're not talking about campaign. We're not talking about Warzone, which has arguably been just as popular for several years. This is just multiplayer, and this many people are interested. The only thing I can think of is there's a lot more people looking to jump in day one because of Game Pass. But in any case, this being a Black Ops, it's a numbered sequel. To have this many people jump in for an open beta is Activision's got to be pretty happy. The other thing I got to point out is this will be the worst selling Call of Duty ever And I'm happy to say that because, again, it's on Game Pass. So is this a case of Activision is throwing these really good numbers out there because when the game actually launches, they're not really going to be able to do that from a sales perspective? In any case, 19 years and this game is still going really, really strong. It's not as much in the public spotlight as it was, from the past, but record players, like it's crazy what Call of Duty has been able to do for all these years. So yeah. And yeah, someone Greek just said in the chat, like Game Pass, it's a no-brainer day one for most people. So yeah.
It makes me wonder, and I agree with you for the most part, almost entirely. But it makes me wonder because, like, there's a lot of people who are like, no, I'm not getting Game Pass. But all their buddies are playing it because they're on Game Pass. So that makes one more sale that there wouldn't have been otherwise. And then on top of that, it makes me wonder about, like, the people who don't stay subscribed to Game Pass year round, but they want to play Call of Duty. They're not going to stay subscribed because they're going to realize eventually, oh, I just paid $300 this year for Call of Duty. So I do wonder if that pushes more sales long term rather than all up at the front, to have more and more people come in that way. But you're right. I think it will have the lowest actual sales numbers, but I bet the microtransactions are higher because I know that plenty of people we played against and with when we were playing the beta had the skin that you had to pre-order the higher package for. So not only are people paying more for it, but the people who are playing it on Game Pass are more likely to be like, oh, well, I didn't have to pay anything extra for this. I'll buy that $20 skin or whatever. I don't know that that's everybody, but that's definitely like a proven thing is that when people play a game for free, they're more willing free. Okay. We're just going to say Game Pass games for lack of a better way to say it, playing them is free. Okay. When people play a game for free, they're more likely to spend money on microtransactions. And then once you spend money on microtransactions, you're more likely to keep paying for Game Pass or to buy the game outright to keep those microtransactions while you're playing it. So I think it's going to be a crazy year for Call of Duty. I'm excited for the game. So
it's $20 a month now for the one you need for Call of Duty.
If you're on console, if you're on PC, it's $10 a month.
Okay, so if you're on console, it's $20. So if you play it for 3 months, you're getting pretty close to paying the full price for the game. So
yeah,
Activision might be better off this way, but it's going to be interesting to see what they actually do release in terms of sales figures because things always get really muddy when it's subscription. But
yeah,
agreed.
It'll be really interesting to see what cool, huge new thing they come out with in 4 months after the game launches, because they know that some people are going to fall off after the first month or two, and then by the third month, if they're still subscribed, they just paid for the game, and then by the fourth month, everything else is bonus. So anybody who jumps back in for another month of Game Pass, I really think like we'll see something big in like the fourth or sixth month, somewhere in there. It'll be interesting. Brandon, what are you most excited for about the new Call of Duty?
I'm just excited to get back into the camo grind, to be honest with you. It was something I was really missing. That's what gives Call of Duty legs for me, is to like, because the reality is that I play a lot more than my friends on this one specific game. And I usually play longer than most of my friends on this one specific game. So not only like in volume in a short amount of time, but like for longer, usually, not always. Yeah, that's what kind of keeps me going. I think it's fun to, push myself. Some of the challenges can be very challenging. But then to like get the mastery camos, to like take each weapon and say, I got gold, gold, gold. And then, to get that whole mastery and keep going. Some of them being really challenging, like, the pistols and the launchers and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what's kind of missing for me in the beta. And that was kind of the only thing. And that's what was so encouraging to me. Having played it is like, if I had a couple challenges, like I would have easily still been playing it every day since it was up. So really looking forward to that. And obviously playing with the boys helps out a ton. But looking forward to the camo grind mostly.
Dave, you mentioned one other thing that was in the article that I wanted to touch on. And not only did they mention like that it was the most amount of people who played and everything else like that, they specifically said that, let me find it again here so I read it verbatim. Total number of players. Okay, so great. Everybody has Game Pass. They're going to try it out. They boot it up. They're one game. They're done. No. Total number of hours. Okay, so there's just a lot of people playing it, a lot of hours, right? No. Most matches played. Okay, that goes along with hours. The fact that it was the most amount of playtime per player is gigantic because that means that it wasn't just people. Starfield came out and they're like, we're at 1 million players after 36 minutes. And it's like, okay, how many people just clicked on Game Pass, started it up to change their settings, and then closed it? It's different than that. This is actually people playing the game for longer than in the past. So the average playtime is up too. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but it's going to be gigantic. It's insane.
Yeah. It's going to be huge.
Huge. We got some news about a new Tony Hawk something or other. This comes from Eurogamer. It says Tony Hawk has been talking to Activision again as Pro Skater 25th anniversary looms. The original Tony Hawk Pro Skater debuted on September 29th, 1999, and would go on to receive 4 further numbered entries alongside dozens of spin-offs, culminating in 2020's critically acclaimed and record-breaking remake of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, which is phenomenal, by the way. Unfortunately, plans to give 3 and 4 a similar remake treatment were reportedly scrapped after Activision made the decision to merge Vicarious and Blizzard so it could be a support studio for Diablo. But now it seems something Pro Skater is on the horizon. Speaking on YouTube channel Mythical Kitchen, Tony Hawk, I don't know why they said Hawks, Tony Hawk recently revealed, I've been talking to Activision again, which is insanely exciting. We're working on something. And then he wouldn't elaborate, etc., etc. He did comment on the 3 and 4 remakes and admitted, I wish there was some way to bring it back, adding, when all the dust settles, maybe we'll sort it out. So, boys, tell me what Tony Hawk means to you. Not the man, the game. Okay, the man's not, he seems like a nice guy, but the game. And also, what could this be? Is it a new game? Is it a remake? Is it a revival? What's going on here? Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Hawk, obviously legendary. I played a lot of 1 and 2 on PlayStation 1. I gotta say that, like, one of the things that sticks with me more than anything, and I think this is like a testament to me, is how it kind of shaped some of my music interest at that time, because the soundtrack was so absolutely banging. Now, I don't want to detract from like the game itself, right? Because obviously it is top tier, 1 and 2 for me specifically. But the music honestly stuck with me for years. And the remake was no different. In fact, they kind of built upon that. I even found some really interesting music in the remake, which was kind of cool that it continued to keep on giving to me. But yeah, honestly, this is good news. I did see the news first about the Tony Hawk thing, not the Eurogame article, and I was kind of pleased to see that he was kind of talking about it, and he was still excited and involved. He didn't just have his name on it. He seems like a really awesome dude that actually genuinely cares about this sort of thing. And I've seen some really cool videos of him online, giving away skateboards and stuff. But obviously a legend. But I'm really hoping for just a complete new game at this point. I want them to kind of iterate on the series, to take all of the things that they learned from the remake and kind of just build on that and make it bigger. We have games like Skate coming out in beta in 2025. So it'd be interesting to see if we kind of get a simultaneous launch. Maybe we'll get it in 2025, maybe 2026. I'd love to see how Skate pans out and how that might influence this new Tony Hawk game. So honestly, I'm really excited for both, and I don't mean to kind of shoehorn in Skate, but I did see that recently that they will be starting the beta here next year. So yeah, this is great news. Obviously, legendary series, and these games are just pure fun. Like, I would love... My ideal Tony Hawk new experience would be to not necessarily make the entire thing completely multiplayer-centric, like it seems like Skate is, but to have some multiplayer elements. The new Skate game almost looks like a Skate MMO, which I don't necessarily think I want. I mean, I could be convinced, right? It sounds interesting, but I would love the core Tony Hawk experience to still be there. The really solid single player, but like if you could like pop in there with your buddies, not necessarily like, oh, this whole thing is a multiplayer experience. It just has multiplayer elements, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. This looks great, and I can't wait. I'm sure we'll see something about it next year. I highly doubt we'll see anything this year. Maybe a trailer next year. I don't know if it'll come out next year, but
Brandon, talking about the music, obviously iconic soundtrack, but that was I played that game in I don't know if I played it in '99, but I definitely played it in 2000. I remember the house I lived in at the time, and that's how I know I played it in that year. And I did not have the money or the means. I was 12 to go out and buy all the music, and certainly I would never condone piracy. But what I what I what I did, because I don't even think we had like good enough internet. If I wanted to pirate, I could have. And we didn't have streaming music, all that kind of stuff. Of course, I had a we had like a large console radio that had cassette players, and I had a record player and everything on it too. And it had the ability to record things, and there was a microphone, and I would take that microphone and put it up to the TV and just let the tracks play and record it on the cassette so that I could listen to it while I was mowing the grass or something.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if that cassette is still lingering around somewhere in an old box I have or something, but yeah, the music was fire.
Too good,
Dave,
bro.
Dave, any experience with Tony Hawk?
Yeah, big time. Just like you guys, the music, big things. I remember playing a game called Amped on the original Xbox, back when Xbox had custom soundtracks, which meant you could put your own music in the game.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a great feature, but when Tony Hawk came out, it was like, I don't need this because the soundtrack is good. And you're right. Like, you hear so much good music, and things like LimeWire and Napster come along, and you have access to all that music. So, but Tony Hawk, for me, there was this theme park that is here just north of Toronto that was really, really big, and I spent a lot of time there as a kid, and there was this roller coaster called the Bat that I loved as a kid, and every time I would go to Wonderland, I would go to this roller coaster, and it would be the first one I have to go on every time. I would want to ride it 2 or 3 times. Didn't go to Wonderland for a really long time, and then I went back like a few years ago, and I went on this ride called the Bat, and I realized how shitty of a ride it was, and I didn't really understand why I liked it so much as a kid. That's kind of Tony Hawk for me right now, and I think I need to remind everyone that this series has had more misses than hits.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is I think this franchise needs to die, and I think Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 probably was a pretty good swan song, and you know, we can probably wrap it up here, and I don't know what he's planning, and it sounds like from this article that we're going to get something on September 29th, whether it's a shadow drop or just an announcement about what they're doing next. But, you know, given the track record of the series and Activision, I wouldn't have your hopes too high. You know, it's okay to just play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2, or even just play the original on, you know, PlayStation, whatever you've got. It's okay to kind of leave memories as memories, because for me personally, I think that this series is it's okay to put it out to pasture. And I even kind of wonder like what kind of market there really is for this, because it's got to be pure nostalgia. Like, I don't know how much the younger generation are interested in these games. And you know, you allude to Skate, Brandon, and that's going to be a really interesting litmus test, because you've got, you know, old school skateboarding video games with modern social gaming mechanics, and how I don't really feel that confident in that taking off, nor am I that confident in another Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game being a commercial success. So as I said, it looks like something's coming regardless, but I don't know. I feel great about the original Tony Hawk games, but there's not a lot else there for me personally. So
yeah, I think I would agree with you, Dave. I mean, I still would be excited and would probably play whatever the next thing is if they make something else. I really hope that what they do is just bring 3 and 4 to modern platforms like they were planning on doing before, because you could bring Underground 1 and 2 if you really wanted to, but if you bring Tony Hawk 1, 2, 3, and 4 all forward, you'll sell some copies, and then I think it's fine. If they're going to do something, that's what I'd like. I think you're probably right, Brandon, that it's going to be something new, which, you know, could either be amazing because it's a great game, or it could be terrible because it's a bad game and doesn't sell. But man, I have such good memories of the first game and the second game, but specifically the first one. We would go rent it every weekend. My buddy would come over and spend the night and the whole next day with me, and we'd go rent it at movies or whatever, one of those places. It wasn't called Blockbuster. It was, you know, something else. And we probably spent as much on it renting it as we could have bought 4 copies with over the years. But never had, as a 12-year-old, you never have enough money all at once. You know, you gotta. But I loved it, and then when the remake came out, I bought it on. Maybe it was a review code. I got it on Epic. I don't remember, but either way, I 100%ed it on Epic, and then I never touched it on PlayStation. But I still think about it sometimes, just hopping in there, skating around a little bit. Great game, phenomenal. Number 3. Not so good news here. We don't know what the hell's going on yet, but this comes from GamesIndustry.biz. The majority of Annapurna Interactive team have walked out after talks with its parent company had collapsed. The publisher formed in 2016 as a division of Megan Ellison's Annapurna Pictures and has had a few hit releases, including Stray, What Remains of Edith Finch, and The Outer Wilds. Shame on them for not including The Pathless, because The Pathless was a banger. However, with Annapurna Pictures shifting its strategy around games, the interactive team was looking to spin the publisher out as an independent business. According to Bloomberg, the negotiations were being led by interactive head Nathan Gary. Let me just pause for a second. Dave, have you ever played The Pathless?
I played it at PAX.
Okay.
20-minute demo.
Okay. Knowing you, just knowing your taste and like the types of games you vibe with, I think you would love The Pathless if you ever catch it on sale or something. You know, like, I mean, it's worth full price, but you know, it's old now, so I think you'd love it specifically. However, both parties had failed to reach an agreement, causing the heads of Annapurna Interactive and 24 other staff to walk out. Annapurna Interactive was planning to publish over a dozen indie games over the next 2 years, including a title in the Silent Hill franchise. The firm told Bloomberg that it will continue to support these titles and continue to expand in video games, although it will now need to replace its lost employees or outsource some of the functions, which includes marketing, localization, QA, PR, and platform relations. Dave, I want to talk to you first. First of all, do you think we should go to Annapurna with a pitch and become their new PR team? And second of all, this is rough. We all 3 really love Annapurna. How do you feel about this? What do you think?
It's sad, but I'm proud of the team for standing up for what they believed in, and I think this is not the end of this team. So I think we need to keep an eye on where they land, whether it's as a whole or even in part, because it sounds like they wanted to have, you know, some of their own freedoms that the larger company didn't want to offer them. So I think, assuming they were kind of going into these negotiations. Sorry, am I good?
Well, good. Yeah.
Assuming they went into these negotiations in an organized way, I like to think they had a contingency plan in case, you know, this happened. So I don't think this is the end of this group. But the other thing I want to say is, let's just keep in mind that Annapurna is a publisher. So the games that they publish probably, you know, would have seen the light of day without Annapurna, but likely just with a different publisher. We loved Annapurna because they curated a really great selection of games that we all liked, but just keep in mind that things like Stray and The Pathless and stuff like that, like they would have gotten made regardless of Annapurna, because games of those calibers don't go unnoticed.
Right.
And I think that kind of gets muddled a lot, especially when it comes to indie games. With AAA games, we know the developer, we know the people who made the game, like they have a persona in the industry. But with some of the newer indie studios, it's kind of easy to get mixed up over who the developer and who the publisher is. So let's just kind of keep that in mind. But anyways, I do think Annapurna will live on, probably under a different name. So definitely something we'll need to keep an eye on to see where this group ends up. And an important thing to note, Ben, you mentioned this in the Discord, I think, the work that Annapurna was doing with Alan Wake on the TV show, that's still happening. This is a separate thing. So
Yeah, that's a different division of Annapurna.
Yeah.
I want to point out that Annapurna does have a rather fledgling internal development studio that was either already helping work on some stuff or was going to be working on some stuff. I know one of them was the Blade Runner game that's going to be coming out supposedly this year. Maybe now it's different. I don't know to what degree, but my real concern is, and Brendan, we'll go to you here in a second, but my real concern is, who were the people who were spotting these games and negotiating the stuff with them? Those are the people that had the eye that we loved. And that's what I worry about losing a little bit. You never know who's going to come in and what kind of different approach they're going to take. But hopefully, as long as the top is maintained, the rest of it will stay the same. But I think it's gonna be a little rocky for them for a while until they get that sorted out for sure. But you're right about the games continuing. The Annapurna is not making the games. Maybe they're funding them as a publisher, but they're not making most of the games. So we'll still get good games. Just it's nice to be able to look at a game and be like, oh, Annapurna, I'll probably like that. That was always nice. Brandon, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, you pretty much said everything I was thinking. Obviously, you both said they had a clear eye for certain types of games, certain aesthetics in games. And it was nice when you saw an Annapurna logo to just know that it was going to be visually pleasing and have a certain quality to it or certain standard to it that I personally would have enjoyed probably regardless. So I hope it isn't like a House of Cards situation where it kind of all comes tumbling down at this point. I hope you're right in the fact that a lot of maybe some of the very top leadership had a large driving force in what games did get put out through them. But you don't know. I mean, it very easily could be completely different from this point forward. So I'm hopeful to what you said, Dave. I hope that this team in some capacity continues on, even if it isn't in the same nature or the same amount of people. I know there's a lot of talented people right now out there from this company that need jobs, and I just hope they kind of get a soft landing because I think most of the industry has respect for this company, and I just wish them the best. So we'll see, man. Things are going to change, I think, a little bit, certainly one way or another.
Moving on. Blizzard has revealed how much money players have spent on microtransactions in Diablo 4 and says that sales revenue has already exceeded $1 billion.
Good Lord.
GamePressure.com says Blizzard has earned a significant amount of revenue from Diablo 4 in over a year. It came out in, June of last year?
It's crazy.
Surprisingly, this information was not made public on the developer's official website, but on the senior product manager's LinkedIn profile, specifically in his job description, saying Diablo 4 has generated more than $1 billion in revenue since its release, including approximately $150 million from in-game microtransactions. Within 5 days of the game's debut in June of last year, it had already made $666 million, largely thanks to pre-orders. And crossing the $1 billion revenue barrier may not be all that surprising, although it should be noted that Diablo 4 has been included in the Game Pass service since June of this year. The developers will soon experience another increase in the significant amount of money as Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred is set to be released in less than a month, marking the first expansion to the game and introducing, among other things, the Spiritualist class. In July 2024, we were able to watch the gameplay trailer of this story expansion. To be formal, they say, it should be noted that Vessel of Hatred is set to be released on PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. I think it will not be included in Game Pass. But of course, we talked about microtransactions and Game Pass and all that kind of stuff earlier. Boys, this isn't that big of a surprise. $1 billion for a giant, massive franchise new release in a little over a year isn't that insane, but it is worth noting that a lot of it came from microtransactions as well. Also not surprising. But boys, how do you feel about it? Brandon, we'll go to you first.
Yeah, I mean, this was a game that I can't believe has already been out for as long as it has. For me personally, it kind of came and went. I don't know what about it didn't quite stick for me. I played a lot of Diablo 3. Anyone who listens to this show knows that. But yeah, something about it just didn't jive. And to see that they were so successful, I mean, it's almost bittersweet for me. The game is great, legitimately. It didn't click with me for some reason, but I don't know. I'm always looking for a reason to hop back in, and this is certainly nothing to nothing to laugh at. I mean, 150 million from microtransactions alone. I mean, I guess we probably could have assumed, based on it just being Blizzard, based on the IP, based on the amount of money that we got from just simply the first couple weeks of this game, that it was going to have tails to it. But honestly, I kind of thought the narrative on this game was kind of shifting a little bit. But what the funny thing about the news cycle is that what gets put out isn't always what happens on the back end. People still buy games even though they're this game's dead, and people still the silent majority is what funds a lot of these games. And so that's another story here, that even if some people are kind of like not so hot on this, or at least in the circles that I've seen, clearly it's still booming. And alive and well in so many ways. And with the first major DLC coming out, it's like you've already reached thresholds that are insanely impressive. So now it's just going to keep on going. It's just gravy for them. So, yeah, I mean, this is good news. I do love the series, so I want to see it succeed, even if it is Blizzard. But, yeah, this isn't surprising to me, I guess, when you really, really think about it. So,
one of the dudes we had dinner with in San Diego last week, Brandon, Kevin, was sitting on my side of the table. He plays a lot of Diablo 4, and he's always talking about the newest thing. And he always, anytime I see him talking about it, I'm like, I should hop back in. And then I don't. But I want to.
right.
Dave, any love for Diablo from you?
Yeah, I've been meaning to check it out, and I didn't realize that it was on Game Pass, so that might
It is now, yeah.
Yeah, that might be my avenue in. But I remember it was just over a year ago, maybe more than that, we read that absurd news story about how much money Diablo Immortal was making like every day,
Right,
just on
yeah.
microtransactions. Completely different model, but it's yeah. This series just kind of prints money. And Brandon, I'm really happy you said what you said, because in my mind, the last I had heard about Diablo was this overarching narrative about how the game's great, but there's no end game, there's nothing to do, that kind of stuff. And it's like, well, in reality, that was, the silent majority were plenty happy, and I think things were addressed and fixed through seasons. So yeah, Diablo 4 I think is going to have kind of a second life with the release of Vessel of Hatred, and that might be the point that I jump in and check it out, because yeah, I know how addicting this game can be, and I'm not the kind of person who spends any money in game anyway, but yeah, Diablo 4 is more powerful than most countries from a revenue generating standpoint, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot more stuff in it now than there was at the beginning. And yeah, it's still got a thriving community, even if it's a little smaller. Dude, I meant to mention this earlier, but I think it was when we were talking about Call of Duty. It was like, oh, this many people have stopped playing Call of Duty. It's like, do you understand that that's how literally every game works?
Right.
Literally every game, including Diablo, including Call of Duty. And I love when people are like, this single player game only has 90% or lost 90% of its player base. I'm like, because they beat it? Like, what do you want? Do you want people to just play a single player game over and over forever? People just look at numbers and then they're like, I could make a cool headline with this.
Yeah,
it's popular.
It's sensational. That's,
Yeah. Yeah. Edward Walton in chat says seasonal content was basically the end game. People blasted through it fast upon release with little to do after. Definitely more things to do now. That's good. Yeah, I should really hop back in and start over is what I should do, because I love me some Diablo. Moving on to the last news story. We'll get into a little discussion here about our most anticipated games after that. But first, this is a Reddit post. We're going to talk about Astro Bot for a minute. I just want to talk about Astro Bot sales. It's fascinating. Matt Piscatella, I don't know where he said this. I think on Bluesky or Blue Sky, however you say it. He's not on Twitter anymore. Says, across both physical and digital, Astro Bot ranks second in unit sales in the U.S. for the week ending September 7th, behind only NBA 2K25. And the Astro Bot DualSense was the week's best-selling accessory. So that's in the U.S., presumably North America as well, but he only says U.S. Astro Bot ranks second in unit sales. And then Push Square reports that in Japan, the latest Japanese hardware and software charts are in, and they don't make for particularly positive reading if you're sitting on the Sony side of the fence. To start with, Astro Bot has entered in second place, but with just under 12,700 copies sold at retail. That's hardly worth bragging about. It's an incredibly low debut for a first-party PlayStation release. Here's hoping that digital sales are a lot more robust. Then there's the PS5 itself, which has seen numbers fall off a cliff following the recent price increase in Japan, etc., etc. So I wanted to talk about this. Like, Astro Bot is undoubtedly doing well, and it's probably doing well in Japan digitally, but I wonder how much this has to do with, in Japan specifically, with the console price increasing. And then also, like, what are we at? Like, 80% of people are buying games digitally, and this is only reporting consoles, or this is only reporting physical sales, so it's probably not that high. It's kind of crazy. I think, okay, 80% of EA's digital sales are digital right now, and 90% are for Capcom. I assume PlayStation first party are probably a little different, based on just the heritage and the fact that it's their console. But anyway, I don't know where to take this other than that it seems like Astro Bot is selling well in some places and not in others. I guess that's not that sensational. But Brandon, why don't you kick us off since you've been playing Astro Bot?
Yeah, this is interesting numbers. I mean, I don't think that to say that it's not selling well in other areas is necessarily the full picture. I think that, as you mentioned, a lot of sales are digital, and I don't think all the numbers are in for digital. So I think we're going to continue to see a slow decline of physical sales like this, and articles pop up that say, look how little this game sold. But, I mean, you can't argue with the other numbers. I mean, it's doing well generally, even by some standards in the U.S. So, and the fact that, a controller, people who already have the PlayStation already have a controller, right? And for something that's branded to be doing that well as well, I mean, I think that is a testament to the IP itself. So I think they probably did really well. If I had to guess overall, I would love to see some numbers. I don't know if they'll give us any. Sony does do that sometimes if it's big enough. But yeah, I mean, I've been having a great time with Astro Bot personally, and maybe it has something to do with the increase in Japan, but I don't know. I think it's still a Japan first company, and even if they increase the prices, I just, you're going to get some people mad, right? That's just inevitable. But at the same time, I don't think most people will take it personally, I guess, is what I'm thinking.
Dude, I was just thinking about if they announce the Astro Bot has had we've reached 3 million sales. Are they going to put 3 million little Astro Bots on a picture? That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Dave, any thoughts here?
Yeah, it's first of all, I don't think you can really, and I feel like a dick now because I suggested the Push Square article, but I don't see the rationale in reporting retail only numbers in 2024. It's just not the full picture, and it's not even half of the picture. So, it's sad that Astro Bot couldn't beat out Tohu Danmaku Kagura Fantasian Lost in Japan, but why would you go toe to toe with that game?
That's right.
Oh, and interestingly enough, retail sales in Japan, number 4 on the list, Brandon. This one's for you. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still selling.
Still kicking.
So, yeah.
Still kicking.
So yeah, I mean, this is just looking at the U.S. numbers. It's crazy to me, and I didn't think this was going to happen. I'll admit this now. That a full price sequel to a game that was a pack-in is selling this well. So good for Astro Bot. People really seem to be loving this game, and having played Playroom while I was waiting for other games to install the day I got my PS5, and then going on to Platinum it, I know how fun this game can be, and just how it just hits so many fun and nostalgic chords. So, I hope this prompts Sony to do more of this stuff, not necessarily just Astro Bot. Somebody last week mentioned something, or they made a really interesting comparison between Astro Bot and what Little Big Planet used to be for Sony.
Yeah.
And I hope that this sort of stuff continues, where we just get fun games. Like the Souls-like can be the Souls-like, but every once in a while we need a game like this. So hopefully we get more of this stuff. So good on you, Sony. Good on you, the name of the developer studio that I can't remember right now.
I don't know, Bob.
Asobi,
that's it.
Yeah.
We need more of this stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's all the news we have. We're going to talk about our most anticipated games for 2024. Earlier, I asked the guys, I said, there's not a lot of news. And really, we had some news, but, we wanted something else to talk about. We're going to talk about our most anticipated for 2024 still. We'll just go around. You don't have to elaborate a whole lot if you don't want to, but just we're at that point in the year where it's time. Dave, we'll start with you. What are a couple of your most anticipated games for the rest of the year?
Should I give both, or do you just want me to do one and then you'll come back?
Yeah, go ahead and give both. Why not?
Okay. So the first one, lucky enough, is coming out in just over 1 week, and that is The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom. I mentioned it a little while ago that I haven't been giving my Switch enough love, both spiritually and physically. So this is a game I'm really looking forward to. I think it's an interesting spin on the Zelda franchise in that, now we can actually say we are playing a Zelda, having our siblings and parents confuse it for so many years. And I think when I first saw the trailer for this game, I just thought it was so cool and interesting how many different ways that you can attack problems, given that you can sort of animate anything from the world, whether it be enemies or pieces of furniture or foliage just right out in front of you. So, think of the endless possibilities that you could have with gameplay mechanics like that. They're running ads now on the TV where two different people will play these games play this game two different ways, because there's just so many different ways you can kind of attack situations. So I'm really looking forward to this. I didn't play the last Zelda game. What's the
Twilight Princess?
No, not Twilight Princess.
The last Zelda game came out in 2006.
The last Zelda game in this style. What's it called? It was a
Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening.
Yeah, I did not play that, and
you're missing out, dude.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to start with this, and then maybe I'll go back to that after. But I'm looking forward to going to a store and buying a game physical too. That's going to be really cool because I can do that with my Switch. But yeah, that's one that I'm really excited for. The other one is Dragon Age. I like that this game is a direct sequel for Inquisition. I was a big fan of Inquisition, and I really love the characters, and it seems like they're really kind of leaning into the different personalities of the characters, and kind of building a story around interesting people in the story. So I also saw the gameplay that we got about a month and a half ago. I think it was at Summer Game Fest. And this game is looking great, like just from a graphical standpoint and fidelity standpoint. Some previews have started to come out, and the hype is sort of maintaining. People who've actually played it are saying really, really good things about it. So, it's been a long time since I played Dragon Age, and I'm looking forward to getting back into it. So, Dragon Age and Zelda are my two most anticipated for the coming holiday season of gaming.
Dave, I'm going to come up with at least one other one, I think, but both of those were going to be like in my running. Definitely Zelda. That's a day one for me. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to play Dragon Age. I'm pretty excited about it. I only ever played the first Dragon Age game, and I don't even know if I finished it. It's been so long ago. I have all of them that are out currently physically for old systems, but I think there's going to be some more stuff coming out later this week, and I think people's minds are... there's a lot of stuff that's really positive, from what I understand, coming out about the game. So I think it's going to be Hype City after that, the new stuff drops. But Brandon, what about you?
So there's only a couple things. I kind of said this earlier that I'm truly excited for. This is kind of my in between excited for. Is the Dead Rising remake?
Yeah. That's next week, isn't it?
I think it's pretty soon.
Yeah.
I don't know the time frame. But I only ever played this at a buddy's house, and it always intrigued me. And it's a series that I know people generally enjoy. I mean, enough to get a remake. So I might check it out. I don't know if it's going to be worth full price for me, but I do definitely want to see what that's about. A game I'm more excited for, though, and I have no experience with it at all.
Apparently, it's tomorrow. By the way, it comes out tomorrow.
Yeah. Stalker 2. Stalker 2 is supposed to come out at the end of the year. And this game looks amazing. It's giving me really big Metro vibes. I played Metro Exodus and I loved it. I don't know if it's just the European developer style that I'm getting from all of the trailers that I've seen, but this game looks fucking amazing. It looks in depth. It looks detailed. It looks European. It looks good. It looks really, really good. I've heard nothing but amazing things about Stalker 1, and it's been years and years and years and years. So I'll be excited to pop on PC and check that out towards the end of the year. Not a lot of press coverage for that I've seen. So we'll see if it actually will end up coming out this year. But yeah, Stalker 2 and Call of Duty, obviously, are probably my biggest two for the rest of the year. I guess it's not quite fall, but that's what I got for the rest of the year. So
nice. My other game that's my most anticipated. I know this is going to really not surprise you guys. It's one of my favorite franchises, one of my favorite series. Is Life is Strange Double Exposure.
Bro.
I couldn't
Stop
get through it.
trolling, bro.
I couldn't get through it. Dragon Age and Zelda were definitely up there, but the other one for me is going to be Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Oh, I forgot that's coming out this year. Shit.
December 6th, I believe. I'm pretty excited for it. I explained this yesterday. I was on Summon Sign yesterday, and I talked about how I don't know if this game's going to be any good. I mean, it should be. It looks good. It comes from good developers. Like it's great. But I'm just excited to be Indiana Jones in first person. That's what I'm excited about.
Right.
And to be in Indiana Jones' world.
Dude, a machine.
Yeah, they're great. Like I said, they're great developers. I'm not
incredibly talented.
I'm not saying like, oh, this game's going to be phenomenal. I don't know about that. It might be. I hope it is. It looks like it's going to be. I am excited to be Indiana Jones. That's what I'm excited about. So
Right.
that's my other one. Somebody just mentioned Mario and Luigi Brothership. I didn't think it was coming out this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is coming out this year.
Oh, that's going to be good too. Man, what are these people doing to my wallet, brother? I got man, I'm looking at like $300 of games before the end of the year. Are you kidding me? I'm glad I already paid for Call of Duty.
Right. Can't go back now. Well, I guess you could, but
I could still can. Yeah. Mario and Luigi in November. There we go.
I feel like Nintendo's always been really good at spacing out their big releases, so I'm surprised to see that they're
There's also a Mario Party coming out this year.
wow.
I'm pretty certain.
well,
That's three. Yeah, that's a Zelda franchise, Mario Party, and Mario and Luigi Brothership. That's
they're
crazy.
they're getting ready for the holiday season. You know what
They're
I'm saying?
turning to Xbox over here, releasing all their games on top of each other. But the difference is they'll actually sell some. So
And it is a shame, isn't it?
I keep this here so nobody can call me a hater. And this, because I shit on both of them constantly. Above it I actually have Super Nintendo signs too, so nobody can I don't know. Let's talk about what we've been playing. Dave, we'll go first. Or we'll let you go first.
Sure. I have pretty much only been playing Mario Wonder this week. I got this game last year. I took a picture of it and put it in the Discord, and my feet is in the picture. So if you're not in our Discord, that's a reason to join the Discord,
Oh shit.
or a reason not to join the Discord, depending on how disgusting you are. But yeah, I hadn't finished this game, so considering I was planning on picking up a new game for the Switch, I wanted to kind of clear out my backlog. So yeah, I finally finished it. Can't say enough about this game. There was that like sense of excitement every time you hit the Wonder Flower in a level, because you just never know what's going to happen and how the level's going to be turned on its head. And I haven't really been too hot on the 2D Mario titles. I took some flack when this game was announced because I said that 2D Mario titles are inferior to the 3D ones. But I really enjoyed this. I'm glad I picked it up. And yeah, I really had a good time with it. I don't know how much more I'm going to play of it. I didn't do like the 100% thing. Like every time I played a level once, I would try to get the 2 or the 3 purple coins and get the flag and find the secret entrances. But if I couldn't find it on the first try, I just moved on to the next level. But
What a bot.
Sorry?
What a bot.
I know. But yeah, but speaking of that, there's one other game on my Switch library that I haven't finished. And any guesses on what that might be, fellas?
I don't know. It's probably some crazy AAA shit. That's not
Darksiders?
Nintendo.
No, I finished all the Darksiders. It's
thought so.
Cuphead. I've been stuck on King Dice. So that's the other thing that I started to reacquaint myself with playing. And I'll tell you, if you have not played Cuphead, one thing that you shouldn't do is look up how long it takes to beat Cuphead. You know, on these aggregator sites where howlongtobeat.com, because it will make you really depressed. I have 40 hours in Cuphead. And apparently, obviously, it's a skill-based game, so those numbers vary wildly depending on how good you are. But apparently, I'm in the shit column because 40 hours and I still haven't beaten this game, and I don't know how long it's going to take me to beat King Dice. But anyways, that's my goal. Is by the time I pick up Zelda, I will have finished Cuphead and thus completely cleared out my Switch backlog. But
Well,
Nice.
good news for you. I don't even think that's the hardest boss. So
Yeah, it's not. Not in my opinion.
no, it's like the boss. I thought that was the end where like you
There's
have like
another
the boss
boss.
rush.
nope.
Oh,
There's another boss.
cool.
I mean, it's not that big of a secret.
I guess I was just hoping I was at the end, but anyways, we'll see. I'm not super hopeful it's gonna happen, but
Dave,
I'm-
after you finish it, you got to get the DLC.
no, that's not happening.
I'm not shit talking because I stopped playing it because it was hard. You know, so like you're way further than I am. Don't mistake my words for slander, please.
Okay.
Dave, do you want to? Never mind. I don't want to.
Corekeeper?
I don't want to do this. No. I don't want to do what I was about to do. I'm gonna do it.
Don't
When
mention
the
Skull and
DLC
Bones, dude. Okay, all right.
No, I'm not. When the DLC was coming out for Cuphead, I was like, I should just play through the base game real quick, just to just to get a refresher. And I was not planning on playing through the whole thing. I was just like gonna hop in and do a couple levels. And I finished the base game. Like I'd already beaten it once, but I ran through it entirely in like 8 hours. And then the next day the next week when the DLC came out, I finished that in one sitting. And I'm disgusted at myself. But I have to bring it up every time Cuphead comes up because I'm not good at video games anymore as an adult. And so the fact that I was able to do that is my one and only flex. That and my Mario Wonder 100%.
I'm not offended because I've accepted that I'm shit at video games, but you and I have talked about this before and accepted that we're both shit at video games, but my level of shit is evidently much lower than your level of shit. The one thing I need to say though is I have been playing this game almost entirely in handheld mode on the shitty little Switch controller, so that's like the worst way you can play it. Now that I've been playing a little bit more in docked, like I feel the difference.
Oh, do you?
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I probably 98% of my Switch gaming time has been handheld. I barely play it in docked. It's not if I want docked, I have a computer, I have a PlayStation, I have a TV, like whatever.
But
If
I'm
I
saying
want
just
to play
playing
my
like
Switch,
a high skill game, like in
Yeah.
handheld with the cramped little controls, is not the way to go.
Subpar,
Yeah.
for sure,
You need a scuff or something for
for
this.
sure.
it's scuff. I got to get that double jump in on the back button for sure. Brandon, you're up.
Oh yeah. So all
Wait.
I've been
Wait. I got it. The chat is going wild about Freedom Wars Remastered. I'm sure that's a big deal. It's a Vita game. They're gonna re-release it so we can play it on
fuck is that?
modern systems. Does anybody care on this panel about Freedom Wars Remastered?
I don't even know what that
That's
is. Bro.
Brandon Googles what the fuck it is.
Okay, if we don't care about it, it's probably not going to make very, very good news story. So let's move on to what Brandon's been playing.
Yeah, I mean, it looks fine. I don't know. It doesn't sound like a real game. Um, I'm sure it is. I've just been playing Astro Bot. Honestly, I gushed so much about it last week, and I don't have anything else to say about it because once you've played like 3 or 4 hours of this game, you've found out a lot of its secrets, and that's not diluting it. I'm just saying that like it's a lot of the same good quality fun game. So I'm about halfway through. I've been taking my sweet old time. I really don't feel like I got to rush through this sort of thing. And I'm planning on getting the platinum. I'm on track to get the platinum, but I'm almost exactly halfway. So yeah, it's just been great, man. It's really cool to see all the homages to all the PlayStation bits, and yeah, I don't know. I just don't want to tread over old water because I literally said everything I had to say about this game last week, and it just keeps being quality as far as I'm concerned. So honestly, that's about it, boys.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat with Astro Bot, whereas I'm loving it. I think it's absolutely fantastic, but I don't know how much more there is to say. I'm going through, I think I'm on the last galaxy now, and I have most of the like bonus galaxies, whatever they're called, the portal dimension. I have most of those unlocked, and up to the point I'm at, other than those secret portal ones, I'm at 100% on everything. So I'm sure once I finish the game, I'm just gonna look at the I haven't looked at the trophies at all yet, so I'm just gonna look at the trophies and see what's left and go platinum it. But it's a delight. It's just really great. It's nice to just have a fun game, and it's so the thing I'm really appreciating about it is I'm seeing it as a game that is fun for me, but also at times there's a few levels that are pretty challenging. And I'm like, this is really great because this can be a game that can be pretty hard if you want it to be, and if you want to just skip those parts, you can. Like none of the core levels are that intense. And honestly, none of the bonus levels are that intense either, but it's a good platforming challenge that I think can be adjusted based on your desire for difficulty and skill level. Also, Space Marine 2. I played this in the campaign in co-op with Brad and Lockmort, and we had a grand old time. I hadn't played it at all last week, right? No, I don't think I had. But Space Marine 2, I played the first Space Marine last month before. I played it when it came out as well, but I played it in preparation for the new game. And it is amazing how many leaps and bounds they took with the production value of Space Marine 2 compared to Space Marine 1. Granted, yeah, there's like 15 years separating them, whatever. But this game is just amazing. It is pure, full throttle testosterone the entire time. Not to say that everybody can't enjoy it, but as a man, I really enjoyed it, is what I'm trying to say. I just thought it was lots of brotherly love there. It's got great systems. It's got a really good parry system. I think it has a cool block system. The melee is phenomenal. It's got a system where you have a decent amount of ammo and everything, but you don't have a lot of health laying around. And so in order to regenerate health, you have to do different melees and parries and finishers and stuff like that, and to restore your health. And that just brings the game to the top for me, because like it just makes you play a specific type of way, and the specific type of way it makes you play is entirely covered in blood and guts the entire time, and that is a-okay with me. It's a pretty short game in comparison to a lot of other games that are out. It probably took us 7 or 8 hours to fully finish the main campaign. Now, of course, I think there's like collectibles and stuff in it you could go and get, but that wasn't why I was playing it, at least not on my first playthrough. It's also got a co-op mode that is not the campaign. It's like separate missions, and I think that actually has like progression and different skins and enhancements you can get to your costumes, and maybe another weapon. I'm not sure. There's definitely more weapons coming in the free DLC that they're going to be adding. And then there's also a multiplayer mode, which I don't really know how robust that is, but we only played one round. It was a simple like domination type thing, and it was essentially like Call of Duty, but with Warhammer characters, with Space Marines. So I don't really know that that's going to be something I want to jump into very often. I'll give it another shot for sure, but definitely want to hop in more into the co-op, do some of those co-op missions. This is a game that's going to continue receiving support, I think, through the beginning of next year, or maybe it's the end of next year. And they've already announced like what they're planning on putting out. And other than cosmetics, I think it's all going to be free. So that's a really nice thing for people who bought the game at launch. And so, yeah, I don't like, a lot of people were like throwing around GOTY contender. I don't know if it's GOTY contender for me, but it's definitely one of the best games I've played this year, and probably one of my favorites as well. It gives me a lot of the same vibes. It's a much different thing. This is a campaign with a story. Maybe the story isn't as good as it could be, but it's got a story. It's purely about gameplay, though. But it reminds me very much of Helldivers, in that you're in there with your boys and you're destroying stuff. You're beating the shit out of monsters and bugs. And that's awesome. And if you want to get super deep into the story, there's probably about 9 million hours of YouTube content you can watch on Warhammer lore to get caught up if you really want to. But you definitely don't need to know anything about Warhammer to play this game. So I give it a big thumbs up. Maybe even 2 big thumbs up, honestly. Not a single doom, only the booms.
That's right.
Coming in here. So, I don't know. I just... It's so nice to have a game that's like 8 to 10 hours with the additional content tacked onto it that you can enjoy if you want to. And then but it's not like constantly bugging you to hop back in all the time. There's no necessity to do that. You don't have to feel like you got to do your dailies or anything. It's not a 40-hour campaign, which I have nothing wrong with 40-hour campaigns, but if it doesn't need to be 40 hours, it shouldn't be 40 hours. Like, this is just a nice beat it and be done with it if you want to be, or you can invest a lot more time into it if you choose to be. It reminds me a lot, for multiple reasons, of like the mid 2000s, 2000 to 2010, era, that we just had good games where it was just pure gameplay and adrenaline and then it was like an 8 or 10 hour campaign, and you were done, and you didn't have to think about what do I got to do next week for this skin or whatever. So
Right.
I enjoyed it a lot, and I recommend it to anyone. I played it on PC, but I played with a controller. One of the first games I played with a controller in a long time, on PC specifically, and I thought it was a really good experience, personally. That's all I have to say about that. That's it. That's all we got for the show.
That's it. That's all she wrote.
I didn't play enough. Oh, they're talking about Freedom Wars still. I don't. Whatever. Don't forget to join us in the Discord at handsomephantom.com/Discord. We appreciate having you guys there. Like seeing you around. You can also join us on Patreon if you so choose to support us. Patreon.com/handsomephantom for as little as $1 a month. Ad-free early access to the show. We appreciate you muchly. Muchly? We appreciate you muchly. Bigly, even. There's a couple questions here. We'll hop out, figure out a show title, and then we'll see you guys all next time. Goodbye.
Derek, yes, I'm very excited. I may pre-order a Switch 2 because it's probably going to be $400.
You think it'll be 4 or 5?
Sorry?
You think it'll be 4 or 5? I bet we venture into the $500 territory with the Switch.
Canada, it'll be $500, but
Wow.
you know, Switch, Nintendo can read the room like Sony can't. So
Yeah.
I'll get you one, Ben. Pick you one up. You too, Brandon.
No.
I want one. So yeah,
don't
go
you
ahead.
dare.
Don't you threaten me.
It's gonna
Don't
have
you
Metroid
dare.
Prime on it, so it's
I don't
Yeah,
want
it's a
it.
must. I will probably be getting a Switch 2 as well. I am much more confident that I will be getting a Switch 2 than I am a PS5 Pro ever. So
Yeah, actually, I'm probably in agreement with that. Just doesn't make sense.
Ed says Switch 2 $500 and we're day one. Okay.
let's go.
More importantly, Abe was, or no, Tim. Tim?
You just call him Abe?
Yeah, I don't know why.
That's a good name for a cat. I like that. Abe.
Yeah.
Tim. I like that Tim was up on the desk there. That was
Yeah.
adorable.
I like
He
he was
hasn't gotten
meowing.
nearly enough attention since this baby showed up. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. That's been almost a year now, right?
Yeah. Kids' birthday parties are fucking expensive.
Yeah.
They don't have to be, but they are.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ben, but not everybody else is. So the real decision makers.
Yeah. They won't. The party's for you though, so just think of it as your party because the baby doesn't remember it. You know, guys, what should the show title be?
Tony Hawk Tuah?
Oh my god, that's so good, and I hate it. Oh
Pro Skater 5?
no! Why does it have to be Tony Hawk 2? I know it has to be.
It doesn't have to be. It does
It has
not.
to be. Oh, okay,
Skate
we're
on
leaving.
that thing. Skate on
Skate-
that thing.
Okay, that's gonna. That's it. Why didn't we say that during the show?
There he is. Tim. Hello, sir. What a lovely cat. What a nice kitty.
He's a G.
I can't believe you just came up with that.
Yeah.
Half an hour earlier, and that would have been the gold mine.
I know.
Gold
dude.
mine, Brandon.
Second wind at the end of the show. You know how it is.
All right, let's get out of here. We got to figure out when we're recording for next week. We'll let you guys know in the Discord. We appreciate you for being here and all that kind of stuff. Appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chatting. We really appreciate the chatters and the lurkers, but we like the chatters just a tiny bit more. Not gonna lie to you. Goodbye.
See ya.